Good morning, Daddy.
Praise the Lord. How are you?
So who records an audio conversation with the ringing with it? So you hear that, I would think that these people have sense, right? You would think that they're even mature, they've been in the game, they are smart, right? That is what a kindergarten whistleblower would have noticed from beginning. You don't release an audio tape, alleged audio tape or audio conversation, and then it works. So who recorded that part? Or you reported it, right? And that's the situation that we are in this country. Quite very, very delusional. You begin to wonder, does these guys even rate us at all? Do they even think that we are dullards? No, we are not. We are smarter than this. First, you had the shambolic elections. You could not put yourselves together. You made a mess of Rivers State, made a mess of open delineation. You were doing cancellation and what's that he called? A T-person of electoral results publicly. And then you forgot about the constitutional requirement of Abuja. You forgot, or you thought maybe that would go by the way. And then all the analysis came through. Then the next decided to say propaganda from different things. The other day it was a man in a plane allegedly shouting that Tinubu will not be. And all that daily you're asking yourself, that man has not been exposed to being an APC person. All these are created. The DSS is coming to become rabble-rouse organization and talking of public spaces about interim government. The DSS that we know that would only never go out to carry out any public situation without doing the investigation and maybe arresting the culprit suddenly. And now it is this audio conversation allegedly between Mr. Peter Obi and Bishop David Oyedepo. Una no get sense, let they pay me. And there are people on social media, Showoreke Yamo and the others, that are sharing it according to, because their agenda is to defame and discredit Peter Obi. Because you see, they have a president-elect, but what they don't have is the will and support and love of the people. So they will continue to use tactics like this to discredit him. And it's embarrassing that people are even listening to it. Sorry, I can't share the audio because, distant time, Facebook will flag it as fake, and any page that does share it would have its own punishment, right? Basically, we are not supposed to be sharing wrong and wrong information, especially when it has to do with politics and a lot of other things. So I can't even share. But I'm going to share with you the response is already. There is a public statement by the Peter Obi's media team that is now on social media. You can read it now publicly. Has not been released. It's a lie. It's a fallacy. The idea is to ensure that Peter Obi doesn't get the level of love and support he's getting now. Because of course, all this agenda, as if you are going to go to court with all these evidences. The court case has been instituted. Your man is running away. The man has Peter Obi has gone to court to ensure that Tinubu can receive receive his summons. By substituted means, so to speak. And then all that is but you are doing all this program every day. You are waking up with new agenda, and you would think that this man said they had a grip of the politics of this country. Just one man has messed all of you up, and you are running up and down. Everybody are looking for information. They can pay anything to anybody that will just wake up new ideas. I want to allow you watch the response of Indicator, a national asset, a brilliant young lady who to me is one of the finest Nigerians I have ever lived at a young age. I listen to this lady and I say, this is wisdom. Don't ever think that school now scam, or don't ever negate the capacity, the ability of God to bestow wisdom upon you. You want to have a woman like this as Minister of Communication and Information. It's okay. She has responded to a few of these propaganda that has been, and it is embarrassing. The DSS and a lot of other people has been found guilty of all this nonsense. Watch this video, share this video. Peter Obi did not make any conversation with David Oyedepo. I stand here because that audio is deep fake, is embarrassing. You could just smell it. And plus and minus the fact that, like I've told you, they recorded the ring. Oh Lord, I beg. Share this video and let this be a testament to the fact that we as Nigerians, we are focused on the goal, and the goal is to retrieve our stolen mandate from this drug law that they gave it to. You see, when you allow people like Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become candidates first and foremost, you lower the bar and you allow them to play propagandas like this that are not even necessary. Watch the video.
Number one, I want to correct this thing where it is, it's tagged that obedience are the ones.
I did say it's not synonymous to the obedience.
So it looks like, it's just
That
obedience.
a lot in the politics
yes, unfortunately,
in the country right now.
Unfortunately, things are heated. The political space has become so heated, and it didn't start now. From the 2015 elections, it really got bad when people were reporting people to their bosses to fire them, and it has built up from there. So people, when they come into the political space, people are on the offensive and defensive because they do not want to be the ones on the receiving end of these things. But this is not an obedience situation that, it's just obedience that do this. Look, the truth about it is the people who have faced the most consequence for hate speech is obedience. We have been lynched, all sorts. We are burying people. Badebo Rhodes Vivo is still visiting people. Peter Obi had to visit people after the elections. So when we're talking about the consequences of these things, these are and you know what? When you talk about us as media people, look, everybody that has been representative of the obedient movement has been quite sensible with their speech. But you have spokespersons, official spokespersons of other political parties being able to say really, really, really terrible things and get away with it. So terrible that we have a professor in Canada who has had to carry a case to ICC for what the spokesperson of the APC said. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about these things, look, anybody can wake up today and say obedience. You played the video of that person. Do you know that as of this evening, obedience have gone and traced the real name of the person on the flight? Where he used to work, where his wife works, she works at the TV station. All of that have brought that police take. Because when these accusations come now, they will say obedience. So obedience have brought the police. Look, we have fed you with every information about this character that did this.
Are you saying he's not an obedient? The person who was screaming obedience in the plane?
No.
Are you saying he's not?
Obedience brought it out. No.
He's
and
not.
That's the thing. Anybody can wake up and say, and like I said, we are facing, this is the kind of thing we're facing now.
So
that
make us understand that sometimes some people, in being objective now, sometimes some other people who are not obedient camouflage as obedient on social media to tarnish the image of the obedience. Is that what you're saying?
And when that happens, like with the case of today, obedience take their time, go and investigate, bring out the name of the person, because we do not want to be tainted like that. Even with the conversation of the Eze in Lagos, they have brought out this Eze is actually in Isolo. This man has actually shown support for the ruling party. So now why are you painting him with obedient brush?
Well, the video that he released is clear as to
yes,
what he
but
did
they have gone back to trace.
Right.
And so what I'm pointing out is, look, there is a concerted effort to paint situation right now when we are waiting for the court case. And literally, our leader has said this. We are going to court. All of us, we are facing court. Okay. We are hoping that it will be shown live on TV so that we follow that process. And right now, while we are trying to face that, we are seeing all sorts of things. Today, they'll say, this group of obedience, that group of obedience.
Well, according to Ndakato, she says the person who tried to hijack that Ibom Air flight is not an obedient. But
no, he's not.
Okay, so let's move beyond that right now. And I want to get your thoughts on the conversations about the fact that there are a group of people who are planning to disrupt the inauguration come May 29, because based on allegations from a statement by APC actually laying a claim, allegations once again on the Labour Party and its supporters, and also the fact that we did see your vice presidential candidate Dati on a TV station where he talked about the fact that if the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in, it's going to be akin to a military takeover.
So the conversation, we've had this conversation about the interim government, and the people who can do interim government are the people in power. It really is not obedient. So no matter what anybody says, there's only certain group of people who can bring in interim government, and it's not us. We're not in power at the moment. So whenever APC, and we have seen this across the campaign season, whenever APC and itself are in battle with themselves, then they start to point fingers. But the only people, and I will say it here again, and you know that the only people who can declare interim government, who can bring in interim government, is Buhari and his government. Definitely not us. We do not hold any apparatus of power to bring in an interim government. So if the DSS is having these conversations and other arms of the APC are having this conversation, it definitely cannot be against obedience, because what power does the Labour Party or obedience have to bring in interim government? I do not know.
Okay, it's quite amazing how this has panned out. In any case, what word do you have for your people as we wrap up this, so that they do not keep giving out that negative energy in the social media space?
I think that we need to continue with what we are focused on, which is the court case. We need to continue to focus on the candidacy of Peter Obi, getting justice at the court, testing the strength and integrity of the judicial system. And that's what we are focused on. That is the conversation we're having. That is the conversation I see on my own TL. That is the conversation I have with young people around the country. That's the conversation I have with young obedience, older obedience, all our spokespersons. That is what we're on TV talking about. The court cases, this electoral system was flawed. We are going to test the judiciary to see that we get justice at the court. And that is it. We're focused on that, and we need to ignore the distractions.
Good place to drop the anchor tonight.
Ndi
Kato, of course, a member of the Labour Party and one of the spokespersons for the Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for being here tonight.